All right, Glenn, thank you. There's Cheryl Pounder, Jeff O'Neill, Darren Drago will be with you for the next half an hour or so, getting all sorts of post-game reaction analysis from these three, as well as the Leafs take a 3-0 series lead in the Battle of Ontario. And of all the scenarios and possibilities we pondered before the series started, Benoit being a hero in back-to-back games, leading the charge in the last one before the Domi goal, and then scoring this one. That wasn't on anybody's bingo card. And is that more evidence, again, that this is just a different Leafs team that finds a way?
Yeah, James, I said to you this afternoon that Ottawa had to throw a punch, and not only that, knock the Leafs down. It seemed like when Brady Tkachuk scored that goal, they threw a punch, but the Leafs stayed composed, and they did not go down, and they find a way to get it done in overtime. You need some unlikely heroes to go on a run. Tonight it was Benoit. Simple fundamentals come overtime. On the faceoffs, it's been so critical for the Toronto Maple Leafs to have success. And Benoit just hammers this one on net. And I have reason to believe that this one goes off of Pinto's hip. You see the puck fluttering, and then halfway through the spin changes, and it's more of a direct spin that goes into the net. That's why they say in overtime, just get it towards the net and you'll have success. What a play by him. What a couple days for him.
Yeah, it's been outstanding for him. And when you look at your third pairing defenseman, you're saying to yourself, okay, I want a guy that can hit. I want a guy that can clear out and play some effective, simple minutes. Well, then when you get offense from the back from your third pairing guy like Benoit, it's just a huge plus. And you saw it last game with the overtime assist. This guy found a way to contribute offensively. So, yes, he was closing quickly from a defensive standpoint, but how about this interception to anticipate, to jump up, drops for Domi, continues on towards the net for the flash screen. I mean, that guy made a 200-foot play to be able to get that. And then again here tonight, we talk about the Ottawa Senators and how they lost faceoffs tonight. Only won 37% of them. Well, that was a massive one. You said it. Oh, get that puck to the net. Benoit does. Another game winner.
I mean, he's a nice story, isn't he, for the Toronto Maple Leafs? Not just because of the last two games, but you look at how much Craig Berube trusts him. 19 and a half minutes of time on ice, 3 shots, including obviously the overtime winner, a couple of blocks in there. But it looked like the Toronto Maple Leafs were following more of the coach's plan in Game 3. They needed to generate more shots, so you get that. And then specifically, make sure you're putting the puck in the net. Now, the overtime winner was a bit of a wobbler if it went off Pinto. All right, fine. But there was method to the madness there of getting that puck to the net.
I got to deal with Leafs Nation every day, and there was some talk about him because I think he struggled down the stretch. There were some moments where everybody was like, is this guy going to be in the starting 6 come playoff time? He's certainly proven the coach right by what he's done the last couple of games.
That's the moment of the night. The most spectacular play of the night was that assist from Mitch Marner on the Matthews goal. Let's hear from Mitch Marner.
At this point?
Yeah, it's good. Now the next one's going to be the hardest, you know that. So we got to be ready to push back and start the game well.
What are you seeing? What are you feeling in overtime on the final play?
Yeah, we're trying to run a play off that face-off and just kind of talking what to do. And they've done a good job with the walk off the wall and kind of deep pounds and stuff like that. But we just want to get it quickly back into the net and see what would happen. And lucky enough went in.
What do you see on the setup to us in the first minute?
Yeah, I'm just kind of behind the net and kind of went eye on eye with Mo and had a feeling he was going to rim that down to me. And from that point on, I mean, I'm just taking a quick look to see what's around me. I know Austin's sitting there, and I'm just trying to get my stick in a good spot for it to kind of roll off the toe into the heel, right kind of through whoever it was, and hit Austin. So, lucky enough it worked out.
What does it mean to see Benoit score like a goal like that, like a guy that doesn't usually have a spotlight?
Yeah, it's amazing. Obviously, that's what playoffs all about, unsung heroes. So it's a hell of a shot. All the guys just kind of got to the net there, and we're ready for a second opportunity, and luckily enough we didn't need it.
Not a great start for you guys. What do you say about the maturity of the team? You guys just weathered that storm early and sort of grew into the game.
I kind of disagree with you. I thought we had a good start. We knew they were going to come hard. It's their building. They're down 2, and the fans were into it. I thought we did a good job weathering that storm and making plays still throughout the zone. And we might have not had many shots, but I thought we weathered the storm well. We took obviously we took too many penalties in that first, but other than that, I thought we weathered the storm well.
Is there a personality trait of Benny that you like that stands out, like behind the doors there?
I don't know. He's just a great guy. I mean, he's a great human all around. And it's been a lot of fun to really learn and get to know over the last couple of years. And works extremely hard. And I think his offensive game has turned around a little bit this year with just confidence and getting up ice and making plays when he needs to. Obviously, he'll tell you the first that that's not usually his forte, but he's done an amazing job defensively blocking shots, using his big frame. keep people away from our net. And yeah, it's great to see one of those going for him.
And now Senators goaltender Linus Ullmark.
Same thing like we did last game as well. Like, we're battling back. We're doing a lot of good things. But sometimes it comes down to lady luck. And you know what? With lady luck, you got to earn it. That's what you got to do, earn it every night. It's not going to come it's not going to come for free. That's for sure.
What did you see on that overtime?
I didn't see anything.
Is that a bad thing to not be able to see in front? Or?
Nah. Like I said, sometimes it's luck that it goes through all those bodies as well. Sometimes it's bad bounce or whatever. But give him credit. He find a way to get it all the way.
How long do you think about this loss and just compartmentalize it, and then how quickly do you move on to the game 4?
Well, it's gonna sting for tonight, and then I'll talk you through a little bit afterwards. Now, I'll go through it in the morning, see if there's any positives or negatives, and something that we can bring into the next one. And that's kind of like my process been all season long, and I'm not gonna change anything.
Just disappointing because you were looking forward to the energy in the building tonight. It was certainly there.
Yeah, no, I thought it was great. It's a lot of fun playing in front of the home crowd that's been excited and been craving a playoff game on home turf for a lot of years.
Linus, as a goalie, what makes a player like Matthew Knies' net front presence so difficult to him?
I think a lot of things that him and other guys in the league are doing well is that they utilize their body in a good way and knowing the tendencies of their teammates or where they shoot and where they want the puck to end up. So he kind of do a lot of flash screens and all that. But it's going to come down to us as well, not allowing him to or anyone else to get in front and utilize their skills.
Anthony Storrs.
Appreciate the positivity.
Yeah.
But, you can keep saying we're doing good things, and suddenly you're doing good things in the summertime. And that's what they're on the cusp of right now, one game away from it. And, man, when Tkachuk scores that goal and they even things up and the building is rocking and you have momentum going into overtime and you're he called it lady luck, one bounce, one shot away from being right back in the series. And now you're down in this 0-3 position that 98% of the teams in history that have been in this position have found it insurmountable. So how soul-crushing is this?
Well, I'll repeat what I said after game 2. It's crushing. It has to be. It's even more so because of the obvious. Now the series is on the line going into game 4. But you do have to look at game 2 and look at game 3. A blown assignment in overtime in game 2, that was the difference. This one was a bit more weird early on in game 3. But in saying all of that, there are positives that Linus Ullmark and the Ottawa Senators should take away from the way that they've played, especially in the last 2 games. And now you look at it from Toronto's standpoint. Ottawa feels wounded, right? Going into home ice again, game 4 on Saturday. So test the mettle of the Toronto Maple Leafs. One thing the Leafs have lacked historically in the postseason and at times this year in the regular season, the lack of killer instinct. Do they want this to go 5? If it goes 5, can it go 6? Toronto's going to have to way to crush that soul, try and find a way on the weekend.
Yeah, and it's a little bit cliche to say you got to just stay in the moment, but that's exactly what the Ottawa Senators have to do, right? They're only thinking now about that next game, that next shift. But if you do look at their body of work, they have gotten better. Not that it matters in terms of the wins column, right? You're not talking about process now because you're not in season, you're in the playoffs. But I thought they had a hell of a first 20 minutes, right? The way they closed, they were physical, they were forechecking hard, but they weren't opportunistic, right? They didn't get more than that 1-goal lead. So
it's still not
really
enough
difficult.
Offense, though. It's the same thing we saw all year long, right?
It's not enough offense. It's not enough finding a way to bury it when they have the pedal to the metal, right? So, and that's part of it. That's learning. But again, as you said, there's no more time now, so they got to find a way.
If you can compare it to a poker game, it seems like they're playing short stacked, where it's like the other team's got the big pile, and every time they go all in, the other guy's always got the best hand, and it just seems like they're one play away. And they keep hanging their hat, and they got to be positive. You saw the goaltender there. It's difficult to be positive. It seems like he's doing his best job, almost over positive, but they're hanging on to. I like their 5-on-5. We came back. We were almost there. They got that goal. The building went crazy when their captain scored. To get that one in overtime, and I don't know if it's the hockey gods that make you just get punished for this when you're new to the playoffs? This is a process or something that you have to go through? Because we did it a lot with the Maple Leafs. Why can't they be the team that gets the job done in overtime? Right. And now you're seeing the roles reversed where the Maple Leafs are finding a way to get it done.
Well, and there's so many things about their game that you like, right? You're all of a sudden you're watching them advance the puck so quickly. Their counters are quick. Everything's good. It's just that finish, the ability to just finish it off. So interesting to see what they do next game, but that seems the details, like the face-offs, right? It's a big deal.
42 Leafs, 75 Islanders, 2010 Flyers, 2014 Kings. The only teams in modern Stanley Cup playoff history to come back from an 0-3 deficit. That's what the Senators face right now. More reaction now from Ottawa. Here's Matthew Nyes.
Tone had a good draw win. I think that's a play we drew up to have a deep pound there, and Benny got a good shot on net there.
Did it go off yet?
It's going to stay as Benny's. It's going to stay for Ben for sure.
What's it mean to have him be part of that play?
I mean, it's incredible. He's had a great playoffs. He's playing physical. He's doing everything that we ask of him, and I'm sure it feels great for him. And guys are so happy in the room.
What do you think about the team's overall game tonight?
I think we found a way to win. I think that there's parts of our game that we didn't play our best, but we figured it out in the end, and that's all that matters is just winning the hockey game. And I think we found a way to do that at the end there.
What's going so well in the power play right now?
I think you have a lot of star talent with those four guys there. I just got to park my big ass in front and create havoc. Take that D away, take the eyes away, and those guys make plays. And luckily we found a bounce tonight to get us going.
How much fun is it to play in not just this atmosphere, but in that particular game? Because there's lots of stuff going on. It looked like things could go either way, but still you're just having fun out there.
Yeah, I mean, we try to stay as composed as possible. I kind of took a dumb penalty at the end of a period there, and that's little things like that. You have to learn. I'm still experiencing playoffs for, I think this is still 15 games for me. So little things like that, kind of have to stay out of our game. But yeah, it was a loud building, and we just got to stay composed and not do any dumb things like that.
Why is it dumb? There was a lot of cross-checking happening in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, it was just the dying seconds. I think I just got to keep my stick down there. It's unfortunate that it wasn't both called, but I just can't be taking a penalty at the end of the game like that, the end of the period like that.
Here's Senators captain Brady Tkachuk.
Activity going into Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, back-to-back games. It's a one-shot game. Yeah, I mean, this obviously isn't the situation we drew up, but make it the hardest challenge of them all. So, I've been saying this a lot. It's not too long ago I watched the Red Sox versus Yankees documentary when they came back from 0-3. So it's been done before, and I have the belief that it can happen again.
What was the crowd like tonight?
It was unbelievable. It's probably the coolest atmosphere I've ever played in. Honestly, it's I can't really describe it because it came out there and I had immediate goosebumps, chills, and it was special. It really was special, and that's what makes this city so special is the support. And I need it again on Game 4. I know they're going to bring it. I know they're going to bring that energy, bring that passion, and we'll find a way for them.
Brady, you started really pushing there in the third period. When you scored, how did you feel the momentum shift and maybe even the environment change on the team?
I mean, I don't know. I really believed at that point we were going to win the game, and just felt like it was meant to happen, to come back and win and kind of have a different result than Game 2. And everything happens for a reason. Everything. There's always adversity, always challenges in life, and it's all about finding a way, and you're never out of it. At the end of the day, you're never out of it. So that's the belief we have.
And you mentioned a couple of times just the lessons you've learned throughout this series tonight. I know it's like 15 minutes since the end of the game, but can you draw on something? What did you learn?
I mean, came back again. That there's always fight in this group, and the lesson is just takes one shot. I mean, the 2 games hasn't gone our way, but I don't know. Game 4 can go our way, and things can change.
We noticed.
whenever you listen to those interviews when a team loses in devastating fashion like that, it's almost as they're answering the questions, I think they're trying to convince themselves of that hope and of that belief.
I had some different answers than what you just heard there.
Oh, how would you weren't you just hide in the bathroom?
Well, I used to just love the old, how does it feel? And it's like, come on, man, like,
it's tough.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's really tough. And good on, Brady Tkachuk or any team that's in a situation, they have to come out and answer those questions when you have no answers in that case. And it looked dire for the Senators when they were trailing and Tkachuk was clearly laboring. And then he comes back and could have been a heroic situation if they'd have somehow found a way to win in overtime.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been a defining moment for sure, not just obviously in the outcome of the game. I mean, he pushed it to overtime by scoring in the fashion that he did. But, when this occurred in the second period, it looked harmless enough. He's just in a battle for the puck in the corner. It's not too physical. But then he backs off, and it looks like he comes up lame. And you can see right here that left leg. He reaches towards his groin. He leaves the bench for, a minute, maybe? Comes back and continues to play, goes back to the bench, and you can read his lips, right? He's pointing to the groin. All right. He stays in the hockey game and scores an unbelievable goal. I mean, we wouldn't expect less from Brady Tkachuk. Number one, to find a way to stay in the game and then find a way to try and be a difference maker.
What a swing there, I thought. Probably out of the game, maybe out of the series. It looked really bad, and then it was like, this guy's going to lead his team to a victory. And ultimately, Toronto pulls it off.
You imagine him waiting, he talks about waiting his whole life to play in the playoffs, and then you're down 0-3 in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, and it almost looked like, when he was injured, you knew he was coming back. It's Brady Tkachuk.
Yeah.
He's going to lead his team in that crowd. The first time they've been in that barn for 8 years, all of that kind of stuff. So you knew he was going to come back. But then, he had that forecheck, that one forecheck. And I remember saying to you guys, like, oh, that looked like it hurt. Next thing you know, he's scoring a goal. But that's the life, that's the passion of someone like Brady Tkachuk. And again, that goal comes off of a face-off win.
Fine margins. Again, these last two games, the first one wasn't, but these last two games, so close. But the Leafs have the edge in all these key areas where their power play's been better, their goaltending has been better, and Tkachuk came up big tonight. But overall, their stars have been better, and illustrated by that play from Marner to Matthews tonight.
That is one of the sickest plays I've ever seen behind the net. I played with 2 Hall of Fame centermen, and I've seen some outrageous things behind the net, and this is right up there with anything that Ron Francis or Matt Sundin. This puck comes behind the net to Mitch Marner. There's a shot off the glass. It goes around, and then it's rimmed by Morgan Riley, and he almost spins it with his blade of his stick, and it goes right onto Matthews' stick. I don't know how many guys in the league. Maybe McJesus could do that. I don't know, but not many guys could do that. You see him waiting for it, and to have the ability to direct the blade of your stick and have that puck come out perfectly. And it's not a pass. You can't pass it like that. He just spins it with the angle that he attacks the puck. It's an incredible play. And good on Mitch, because a lot of nights I've sat up here and said not a lot from their best players, and he would be included in that. He has been fantastic. And all the Maple Leafs or all of his teammates have ever asked, saying, can you guys show up in big moments? And he's certainly done that thus far. He's been fantastic.
Cheryl, you okay with the coverage there? I mean, Sanderson's looking at Mitch, and he's saying, all right, I don't want to get too deep in pressure. And then you've got Zub, who's trying to protect the front of the net. I mean, we've seen Austin Matthews score from that position how many times this year?
Yeah, and the thing is you saw Mitch Marner. I mean, when you're magic like that, but he was under pressure.
Yeah.
And that's why I love below the goal line play, right? Because if you go, what does that leave open? Or if you leave too much room, it's everyone facing one way. But to leave him off to the side of the net is you got to be very aware of who their greatest threat is, and it's Austin Matthews on the back door. But I would say that they've been contained throughout that game so far to that point.
Good matchup.
Right? There was a good match. I thought Pinto's line had done a real nice job of suffocating. Mitch Marner didn't have a shot. Austin Matthews had one shot. Matthew Nyes had one shot on goal up until that point. But that's how quickly they can strike. Right? And so you got to always be aware, because if you lose him for 1 second in a little quiet area like that, Mitch Marner's going to find him with the eyes in the back of his head, and that right leg lift to get it through. Incredible.
Ridiculous.
I give the Leafs a ton of credit for their poise when the game was tight. It was like the Ottawa scores the first goal, they stayed poised. Brady Tkachuk scores that goal, they stayed poised. Where in the past it was like it might come apart at the seams a little bit. They might chase, they might cheat. They were composed throughout the night, and they waited for their opportunity, and it paid off for them.
And Ullmark, who you heard him say saw nothing on the game-winning goal, Saw absolutely nothing there. I don't even think he knew what happened. No. It happened so fast, that pass from Marner to Matthews. Let's hear from the Ottawa Senators coach, Travis Green.
There's not much I'm going to say to them right now that's going to help or make them feel any better. It's disheartening, to say the least. I thought both teams played a hell of a game. Sometimes playoff hockey comes down to little inches or bounces, and we were on the wrong end of it tonight.
Just building off that, what did you like about your team's game tonight, Travis?
I liked a lot. We were ready to play. I liked our start. I thought Toronto pushed like a good team does. I thought we hung in there, and then it was a pretty even game.
Mike? Travis, what did you think of the atmosphere? I mean, there was a lot of talk about how many Leaf fans would be in there, but it sure seemed like it was majority 80-90% Ottawa fans.
Yeah, it was awesome. You can hear my voice. I was trying to yell over the crowd a little bit, just trying to with our line matchups and who was up, and it was everything you'd envision out of our home crowd. It was awesome.
You're right there the last couple of games.
Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest thing you need to improve on to just, make up for those couple inches you're talking about?
Yeah, you know what? It's sometimes it's a little thing here and there. I don't think there's a lot we have to change. We got to play. They're a good team. I'm not complaining, but they've got a couple bounces that have gone their way. Puck goes off the toe and a deflection goes in, and we just need to keep playing and worry about the next game. There's not like when you lose 2 games this way, it's you're not making big adjustments, to be honest.
Hey, Travis, we just spoke with Brady, and he mentioned it wasn't too long ago that he watched the documentary about the Red Sox coming back to beat the Yankees. What's your message, though, to maintain the belief amongst your group now that you're down 3-0?
Yeah, you know what? Whether you're up 3 or you're down 3, for me, like the next game is the most important one. I don't think we have to worry about winning 4 in a row, and that's what every coach is going to say. Chief's probably going to say the 4th one's the hardest to win. I'm going to say we don't have to worry about winning 4 in a row, just the next one. But you know what? The 4th one is the hardest to win. And the one thing I know about our team is we're not going to lay down. We're not going to go away. We're going to be ready to play.
Probably embodied by Brady in a lot of ways as your captain. What stood out about, you waited for this moment for a long time, fans chanting his name. What stood out about what he did for you guys tonight?
Yeah, he's playing well. He's playing awesome. There's never a doubt that he's going to be a big game player. And he is. He showed it at the 4 Nations. It's in his blood. And like I said, he leads our team when it comes to how we want to play. We want to be a group that's hard to play against, that loves winning. And we're going to, like I said, we'll be ready to play on Saturday.
Travis, it's another goal on a face-off in the game winner. How can you improve on that, especially some of those key draws at times?
I can tell you, it's taken a lot of face-offs, and it's easier said than done. And they've got some good players, and they've got some good centermen. And our guys are trying. We haven't done as well as we normally do. We have a good face-off team too. And, but when you're talking about minute percentages, sometimes you're just on the wrong side of it. And we've been on the wrong side of some face-offs. I think we can do a better job helping out in our edge battles. We've talked about that. And, I thought tonight it was obvious that we were losing a lot of draws, and it was kind of consistent throughout our lineup.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay.
All right, there's Travis Green. Obviously saying, I love how he just knows the cliches that are out there, but what else can you say at this point in time? Yeah, not too much to change, but he did touch on, there's 2 things really, don't you think, that they have to change? and one is the face-offs, which Cheryl will get to, and the other is the power play that gets one tonight, but only on a 5-on-3.
Yeah, I mean, you're splitting hairs a little bit. I mean, 1 for 4 on the power play doesn't sound horrible, right? But when you're down 2 games to love in a series and you need special teams to be a difference, you got to find a way to put the puck in the net. And for 2 reasons. The obvious is maybe there is a 2-goal swing on that 5-on-3 because they did have chances after Giroux scored the goal. But beyond that, look, I don't think the Toronto Maple Leafs love the fact that they seem to be getting all the calls, right? There were a couple that were maybe a little bit sketchy. That's the time of year, and the standard of officiating is also always questioned. But maybe if you get 2 power play goals, that pushes the Maple Leafs a little bit, and maybe they break in this game. I mean, it could have been a difference maker.
Yeah, and there was opportunity there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they were right on the doorstep a couple of times, open 4x6, and just didn't hit it in that scenario. And so that's sort of that finish, because the Toronto Maple Leafs are opportunistic as well, and with their firepower that they have up front, you kind of, if you don't get that cushion sometimes, now all of a sudden they claw their way back in.
I talked about the Minnesota Wild, how they smoked Vegas in that game, too. That's what Ottawa needed tonight.
Yeah.
They didn't need it to be tied going into overtime, where the hockey gods aren't going in their favor right now, and they're putting it at risk. They needed that, I told you, that punch and knock them down. They couldn't get to it tonight.
Right, and that's where I think Travis Green says, well, these are close games. It could go either way. We stay the course. You're right. I think you have to win a game. You have to try to win a game 4-1.
You got to plant a seed that there's something coming their way for Game 4, and they just couldn't do it tonight.
And I do think that their PK has to be better, right? I mean, it's easy to say against a team like Toronto, where their power play is quick strike. We were talking earlier about how quickly they were able to strike on it up until this point, but they did go 1 for 2. Now, I thought that they were much, much better tonight. They collapsed. They weren't giving up that low 2-on-1 as much. But at the end of the day, you have to win that opening draw.
And how many, you're right, how many face-offs have led directly to Toronto goals?
That's exactly it. And the first thing you have to do, because obviously after a penalty, the face-off's in your zone. I mean, if you can get the clear, the hardest thing to do is to get in and set up. So got to win the face-off.
The hero most of the time for the Leafs, and the hero out of nowhere for the Leafs, both at the podium together, Austin Matthews and Simon Benoit.
Like that.
Didn't quite know how to react, to be honest. I just lifted both of my arms and didn't move, and I saw those guys coming towards me, so good feeling.
Nice. This is, for both of you first, this is 2 games in a row that you've had a hand in an overtime winner. Just how you feel about that in Austin. I mean, they say playoffs is a time for unsung heroes. I mean, what can you say about the guy beside you? First, Simon.
Yeah, oh, go ahead, Simon.
Sorry.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess in the playoffs anything can happen, and I guess luck is a bit on my side for now, so we'll just stick with it.
Josh? Did you want to go? Austin, you've been playing with Simon for a little bit now. What have you seen? What have you seen his game grow offensively? Obviously, he had the big assist in overtime the other night, and then, of course, what he does tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely, he just continues to get better. I mean, I think when he kind of first joined us last year, I mean, obviously his physical presence defensively, I mean, he's long, he's got a long stick, he's a big body, but, like you said, this time of year, the little plays, the details and all that stuff really matter, and, like you said, on the last 2 overtimes, he's made big plays for our team, and he's came up big, and on the offensive side of the puck as well as the defensive side. So it's been great to see. I mean, you need guys like that to step up this time of year. It takes a full group effort, and it was just great to see tonight, too.
Chris, Austin, going into that face-off in overtime, what are you thinking there other than obviously winning the draw, but are you trying to execute a specific play, or what were you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I think at that point in the game, I mean, you just want to kind of simplify things, and you never know what's going to happen when you throw a puck to the net. So, I mean, that's kind of what we wanted to do, was just try to win the face-off and just try to get a shot to the net, converge on it, and see what happens. But Benny took care of that and just sniped it right away. So, I think just getting bodies in front of the goalie, trying to take his eyes away and letting him do his thing, I guess.
Kevin? Austin, I know the fourth win is always the hardest, but what's it mean for you and this team right now to be up 3 games to none?
Well, it does. I mean, to be honest, it doesn't really mean anything. Like you said, the 4th game is the hardest one to win, and we're going to enjoy this one, and then tomorrow we're going to, rest up, do what we need to do to get prepared for the 4th game, and just continue to put our best foot forward and stay focused, stay dialed in. like I said, the fourth one's the hardest one to win. So there's definitely, can't take our foot off the gas. They're going to be ready to play. They're going to be a desperate team on Saturday, and we need to be ready with a response.
Simone, is that the biggest goal you've ever scored in your life?
I don't score much goals, so I would say yeah.
What would be second?
Pardon?
What would be second?
Second biggest goal? Probably like Pee Wee or something. No, I mean it's fun, like you said in the playoffs, it's not always the same guys. It's fun when other guys get a good goal because we know it's so hard to score in the playoffs. So getting that goal was pretty exciting, that's for sure.
We have 2 more here.
O-Dog, did you ever do 3 dress shirt buttons undone in your post-game
Boss
news?
Take your tie
Because I want to
off.
see that.
I've been up on that podium, and I think I only did the 2. They only did the 2.
No. You never went full Kucherov, just no tarp?
You can do it now.
No.
You can do
Maybe
it now.
when it was all over, I thought about it, but I never did it.
Look, by the way, Travis Green predicted that the Leafs would be saying the fourth one is the hardest one to win, and we've heard it now from Marner. We've heard it from Matthews. I'm sure we'll hear it from Craig Berube when he speaks in just a couple of minutes. But again, the little things that they've done, and Brad Treliving retooled this defense and the defensive play again. Maybe we didn't see it all year long, but so far in this series, better than we've ever seen during this tenure of the Leafs, don't you think?
I would say so, and it's not necessarily flashy play, right? You're not seeing this, the flashy, offense from defense, but you're definitely seeing collective defense, and it's not just about the core on the back end, but it's also about everyone connected and finding a way to protect the middle of the ice. But it's about the block shots. You saw the 32 block shots last game. How about the push to the outside? You got to win your one-on-one battles, then you got to be able to, once you do that, flex out quickly and hard on the puck in that contact zone. And you can see everyone's got someone in the middle of the ice protecting, tracking to the net. And that's really what the most important thing is anytime you think that you're threatened, you got to come back to that home plate. And once you do that, you know that you're in good position to block as well. And then obviously it's about retrieval and puck retrieval. They're doing a nice job of it, forcing dump-ins and making it really difficult to get into the inner slot to the Ottawa Senators.
Grown men back there stopping cycles. That's what a defense core does. For years, they couldn't stop cycles, and the other team would do whatever they wanted in the offensive zone. Big boys, playoff hockey, stop cycles, mandatory.
Speaking of grown men and big boys, here's the coach, Craig Berube.
Abilities here the last couple games.
Well, it's happy guys. It's always great when a guy like that scores a goal. A big goal like that, overtime goal, game winner. Benny's played extremely well for us defensively and being hard to play against, and does all those things. So it's nice when guys like that are rewarded with a big goal. Very happy for him.
Benny was just saying that you guys were very patient with him when he struggled earlier in the season, losing rest because of a new baby and all that. Can you talk a little bit about the journey that he's had this season and what he did even in the dying seconds of this game to block shots?
Yeah, I don't know. I think, all types of players go through ups and downs throughout the season, and I know that Benny is the same. And, we used other D at times, and he missed a game here and there, but he was always positive about it and keep working on his game. I think Benny has made some huge strides this year in terms of he always plays physical and hard and blocks shots and penalty kill and does that sort of things. But he's, to me, he's jumping up in the play more, skating the puck out of our zone more confident with the puck is what I see from him, which is a good thing.
What do you think of your team's just overall performance tonight?
Yeah, we played well. They came hard in the first 10 minutes. I thought that, we were under pressure, but we did little things right and defended pretty well and, did what we had to do to manage it. And then I thought we got going in the first. Second period was full of penalties a little bit. We got a little bit caught on that side of things, and we had to kill and it kind of disrupted the flow. Third period was really good. We gave up 2 shots in the third period. I know one of them went in, but it was a very good period with our forecheck and our hound and our puck battles and our smothering forecheck. I thought we did a good job with that. I really liked our third period a lot.
Special teams. What's made your special teams so effective throughout this entire series so far?
Well, I think they've been pretty good most of the year, to be honest with you. Obviously, the PP came through again with a big goal. I thought our penalty kill was really good tonight. I know the goal, they got a 5-on-3 goal, but overall the kill has been good. The kill is all about puck pressure and reads and shot blocking and your goalie making saves. Like, that's what penalty kill boils down to in the end. Thank you.
Hey, I don't think we got a fourth one is the hardest one to get from Coach Craig Berube. Look, this is an impossible question to answer because you can't see into the future like Mystic Mike does, but just from what you know and you know the historical odds, is the series over?
I would say so, yes. It might not end Saturday night, but I would say the series was over. They needed to plant the seed tonight to put some doubt in the Maple Leafs' mind, to bring back all the horrors of the past, to say maybe this is going to be a problem. They needed to get that one tonight. Very costly losing this hockey game.
Yeah, look, there's still fight left in the Ottawa Senators. I look at the talent that they have up front, obviously led by the captain, Brady Tkachuk, but we haven't seen a whole lot from Dylan Cousins yet. You've got Tim Stützle, who, I mean, he has to have a big game. He has to have the game of his life on Saturday. Drake Batherson, some repair work to get done there. The experience of Perron and Giroux. And look, when you use the word sweep, that's like saying shank on a golf course. You just don't do it. Just don't do it.
Truth.
And for me, it's interesting. I think that they've got nothing to lose now, and I think there's a different air. And whether it ends tonight or next game or the one after, but I think that when you play with nothing to lose, sometimes that's why the fourth one is the hardest one to get. So I do think that they've got some fight left in them, but man, it's a dog fight to get in this
It's the
one.
mental part that's the toughest. I've been down 3-1 to Detroit, where they had better players, they were playing better, they were getting the puck luck, and the mental hurdle of thinking we got to do this like 3 more times. It's very difficult.
Well, you heard Brady Tkachuk talk about that Red Sox documentary when they were down 0-3. It will likely be recommended to everybody else in the Senators dressing room before they get back on the ice Saturday night. Don't forget, this entire post-game show will be on YouTube. O is a prominent YouTube creator now. That'll be up in a little while. Back to SportsCenter.